Okay, so Myth Drannor dropped today, and we are going to take a look at that as well as I'm going to TR into the new iconic that they had. So the first thing I want to do is take a look at the actual page that dropped this information. See if I can find it. Yeah, okay, so this literally started today. I guess the actual expansion is available on July 31st. Hand like feet, good evening. Hope you're having a good night. So we pre-purchased this today. We're going to take a look at it. We'll look at the different bundles, talk about the one that I got, and we're going to watch this trailer. But I wanted to go over this stuff because I'm curious to see exactly what they did with the lore, because like I said in a previous video that I made about the lore of Myth Drannor, there's a few different source books, and like the original one that I was using came out, I think it was during the second edition rules. So that story involved basically like Myth Drannor became this massive city under the rule of this one king, and he was very multiculturally minded. He just invited a whole bunch of different species to come and live in the city. And as a result, the city thrived. It became like a trading hub, and it was also like a magical hub because all different wizards from all different places came to the city. There was just a lot of opulence and wealth, and so as a result, there was a lot of magic that was made in Myth Drannor that was sort of new. One of them being something called a mythal, which is a mythal is my understanding based on the lore, the original lore. SSG may change this, but the original lore was that it is a magical entity, like a living part of the weave. And each mythal, basically like an individual, is a bit different. My understanding when I read it, it sort of functions a little bit like a metaphor for us. If anybody out there has seen the Star Trek, The Next Generation, where you have like the holodeck and you have the voice of the holodeck, it's sort of the same idea. Troggy Trog, how you doing? Yeah, so that lore, the exchanging of nuclear mythals, that's different lore than the lore that I read, the initial lore. So the story that I read in the second edition rules was that this king who made the city multicultural, they made these mythals, and they basically surrounded different parts of the city in different mythals, right? And because the mythals were sentient, like you could actually interact with them like beings, they became sort of very protective over their space. But what happened is hordes of angry goblins came down from the mountains, very similar to Tolkien's Battle of Five Armies, where out of the misty mountains came these hordes of angry orcs and goblins. And there was a big war that ensued, engulfing the city. And the city basically retreated into these mythals and into their magical towers and fortresses. A lot of people fled, a lot of people were killed. There was thousands and thousands of goblins that just overrun the city. Well, Myth Drannor, in their height, became known as the city of portals, or city of 1,000 portals, or something like that. Anyway, the point of that is because there were 1,000 portals in the city, people were able to flee through the portals, but a lot of the portals were destroyed. And another thing that occurred was that whether it was the goblins who did it or one of the wizards in one of the towers who did it, the lore is sketchy. I think they leave it up to the dungeon master to sort of fill in the details. But the canon story from this second edition rulebook that I was reading said that somebody opened a portal to Avernus, which basically is the first level of hell, and outswarmed all these demons and devils along with the goblin armies that were ravaging the city anyway. So that hastened the demise. Going on alongside all of this, the king and the growing city, in the background were very similar to Tolkien, the elves. Drannor originally was like an elven tree city, basically. And the elves decided to leave, and they left and went to the Thunder Peaks, and they left the like all the woods basically empty, with the exception of a few things that they left behind. But eventually they return, and they are not interested in doing this multicultural species city with these mythals. So they end up leaving and going to Evermeet, which is basically for the Forgotten Realms version of the Undying Lands. So the original lore is sort of, the elves behave very similarly to Tolkien's elves, but like I said, I don't know what SSG, Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast has done with Drannor after that. I'm sure the second edition, third edition, fourth edition, and then now the fifth edition, which the fifth edition stuff is getting refreshed. I'm sure that a lot of this stuff is different. A great example of this is that Eberron itself has two different stories now. Like, we have the story that we have in TDO, but there's another like lore story for Eberron. So I don't know. Inverness, yeah, inside your fridge. All right, so really quickly, they're calling it the land of mythal and mystery. So technically, yeah, I mean, they're embracing the mythal idea. Whether they make it so that it's like sentient magic that we can interact with like a being, I don't know. And whether they include what you mentioned, Trog, with the war of the mythals there, with the exchanging, mixing that they didn't, the two nuclear mythals that caused a cataclysm. So deep in the heart of the Forgotten Realms lies the ruins of Drannor. Crumbling buildings, rubble-choked streets are all that remained of the once spectacular city. Right, that's sort of standard with what I read. Like, it was originally like an elven river city in the trees, very similar to Tolkien. They lived in Talans, and then it expanded, and eventually that king invited all the species of the realm to live there and thrive, and then they built up. So in the ruins, because the ruins are huge, the forest that surrounds them is very similar to what Mirkwood would be. And there were, in some of the mythals and some of the parts of the city, towers and keeps that were never breached by the war. One of them being like the biggest castle in the whole area. The king's castle was never breached. It has some sort of magical protections on it. So as a source of like adventure for a party, if you were a dungeon master, having a party trek through the woods into the city, deal with the mobs that are there, and then try to figure out a way into this castle, because the whole idea is that people didn't have time to flee with their rich stuff. They basically just left. So the rumor were that it was filled with lots of treasure. So it looks like they're capitalizing on that. The elves rebuild their ancient capital. So this is not in the original lore, at least not that I read. Now, I could be wrong. They may have added something, but the original lore was that the elves left and went to basically to their Undying Lands and just said to hell with the Forgotten Realms, because they just, like elves, right? They just stopped caring about anything that had to do with mortal realms. They didn't care about mortal races. They didn't care about anything that was going on. They just left. But our lore is different, right? DDO is like a shake and bake homebrew, so it looks like they're writing it so that the elves are coming back to rebuild, and they want to clear out their ruins. Maybe this is why we're getting Eladrin, because part of the people, the group of elves coming back are a group of Eladrin. Savage monsters, wild magic zones, portals to dangerous places. Right. So that's something important to remember. It was the city of 1,000 portals. Like, it is very similar to, so if you played Baldur's Gate 3 and you went to the Last Hope where Raphael's fortress in Avernus. They set up Raphael's fortress in Avernus very similar to what Myth Drannor would have been, thematically, not in scope, right? Raphael's house was a lot smaller than Myth Drannor, was gigantic. But in Raphael's house on Avernus, you can go into a room of portals, and I think there's maybe 15 portals in that room. And they all lead to really cool spots. I was actually really upset in the game that we didn't get to warp to them. And I think I actually said it when I was playing it. I wonder if they're going to do DLC content based on these different portals, because all the different portals sounded really cool and they were all unique locations. And they're not necessarily stuck in the Forgotten Realms either. Like, they could warp to a place that's in Spelljammer. They could warp to a place that's in Ravenloft. They could warp anywhere, basically. So people who go into the ruins of Myth Drannor are going to come across these different areas, whether they're damaged or still pristine, where these portals were. And there were supposedly over 1,000 of them. The portal somebody opened, now this is the lore that I read, right? Somebody opened the portal to Avernus, demons and devils flooded in. For Eberron, that would be like somebody opening a portal to Shavarath, right? But supposedly something closed the portal. So whatever was driven away, in the original lore, I think it was the Wood Elves. I could be wrong. But it sounds like SSG is embracing something that's very cool from Forgotten Realms with the Red Wizards of Thay. I think that they were involved in the original lore. I didn't read like all the history of it in that original source book. It's a huge source book, right? It's like a couple hundred pages. I just read like the rise and fall. But after the fact, I'm not surprised that the Red Wizards went there and searched around for stuff, because it's where everybody who was doing like the most cutting edge magic was before it fell. So Red Wizards of Thay, great. Dark Necromancers, okay, of course. I mean, it's DDO. We have undead everywhere, right? Harness the chaos of wild magic. Wild magic in the sense that the mythals. So from the lore that I originally read, the original lore that I read, the mythals basically functioned as magical entities that could manifest magic through them, the weave through them, through their particular personality. So a spell in one mythal would not function the same as in another mythal. And so that was like wild, but it's not. And later on, what wild magic became and what it looks like they're implementing is basically what we all know if you make like a wild magic sorcerer in 5e. They like dipped heavily into the 5e, which is great. I think 5e is great. I'd actually like to see more of our rules in DDO become 5e. Anyway, so they're giving us a Ladrin. We get to play in the Forest of Cormanthere. That's good, sure. New wilderness area. They should give us a gigantic forest around the ruins. Basically, like I said, it's similar in the way it's described to Mirkwood. And pre-purchase is available now. Let's watch the trailer, right? All right, what were those? Were the carrion crawlers, right? That's what that looks like. Carrion crawler. It's cool. It's really cool if that is, because it's one of the monsters that, like when I played Dungeons and Dragons as a kid, we fought carrion crawlers, and like we have not had them in DDO, so it's good. Okay. I mean, that trailer focused on gameplay, right? So we got to see a lot of the stuff they're adding. Some of it looks really cool. We saw the I'm gonna silence that just because I want to look at some stuff. We saw the magic carpet. That we saw that on the test server, which I said it should be called a magic carpet because it doesn't fly. They call it a flying carpet though, but I think it should add a feather fall effect. I don't think it does. From the look of this, I mean, this doesn't look that different than the stuff that we'd see out in the out in the woods of like the Thunder Peaks area, all that stuff that we have in the Forgotten Realms already. Like it looks like they're going with the same sort of wooden fortress design. I'm hoping that in certain areas in the forest we get to see like some of the old elven city where they're actually living in the trees. Which it looks like they did incorporate some of that here, because that's exactly what that looks like. That's a house built actually into a tree. So that's super exciting. I'll say this too, just on the record, but off the cuff, if that's a thing, that I think it's another great opportunity for them to give us player housing, right? Like, I mean, I would really enjoy having something like that as a player house. So that's really cool. Is that basically a shot of it? Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah. So that's very similar to the original lore that I read. The elves built the city originally, and it was like a tree. So that's cool. That's good. This might be actually some of the ruin itself. The quality on this, it's a little bit difficult, but so maybe that aura or that shimmer, maybe that's part of a mythal right there. So we'll look at it again. Yeah. I think that might have been it. Like that, this may be like you walk into an area and the mythal has a zone, like a barrier zone, so you know that you're entering it. It depends how elaborate they want to get with these mythals. Like you can get very elaborate with it, but thematically, I think it's very cool. That, I mean, and I like that. That looks really good. Very cool. Like yeah, man, I would love to have a stronghold like that. Like this, I'm not super impressed with because this is very similar to what we like the Stormhorns, right? Anyway, okay, so there's not much else in the trailer. We saw a bunch of this stuff when we did um the test server. So the key features are Eladrin, wild magic, the new enemies. So they added the Red Wizards of Thay and a bunch of monsters. Carrion crawlers, apparently. Is this what they are? I mean, that's what it looks like to me. Maybe somebody knows what it's called, but battle against the Necromancer's Legion. Okay. Explore Myth Drannor. I mean, that looks really good. Unique wilderness, former home of an elven empire. Okay, collector and ultimate fan bundle. We're gonna look at that right now. All right, so the pre-purchase is going on now, and it looks like the standard edition, which is 40 bucks US, will get you the game and then the Eladrin. If you pay 80 bucks, which basically is double the price, keep in mind, $80 is the price of a AAA game, right? Like $80. Most AAA games are about $70. You get the content, and then you get the wild mage archetype. So they added the archetype purchase to the collector edition. You get a cosmetic set, you get a steed, you get a pet, and then you also get that bow using druid hireling, which I liked. I liked a lot. And they're also giving you an extra character slot for $80. So it's DLC, you get a race and an archetype. So we all already know, based on Dragon Lord, that the archetypes are great. So like that's super worth it. Is it worth it to you, the cost of a AAA game? I don't know. That's going to be up to you. 130. I mean, now we're into basically like Ubisoft prices. But so let's see what they give us. So we get the content, we get the race, archetype, the same cosmetics from the collector edition, and they're also giving you a character slot, but they're adding 2 more character slots, so you get 3 character slots. That's really good because the way the TDO works now, a lot of people use these extra characters as storage characters to keep all their extra stuff, and sometimes they have a lot of older characters that they don't play that are storage characters, so having a new slot would allow them to play a new character. I think since they're adding a new race and a new iconic, giving people character slots to play those is a great idea. I don't think that they should all be gated behind the $130 version, though. I think actually it should be like 1 character slot here, 2 character slots here, 3 character slots here. Like that's how I would break this up, because they're giving the standard edition gets the new Eladrin, and the person buying this for $40 may not have a character slot, so they should get 1. So that's what I would do different. 1, 2, 3, but right now it's 1 or 3. They're giving the iconic is only available if you purchase the Ultimate Fan Bundle, which is very strange to see because they want obviously people playing the game. They want people going through all the content and reincarnating. Like that's the whole point of the end game of DDO, right? So I disagree with giving the iconic only at the Ultimate Fan. I think the iconic should be over here. I do. I mean, maybe that is a hot take, but I don't think there should be gates behind like people being able to play stuff. Now, I know some of the iconics they list as like they're on a different tier, so like you have to purchase them separately. So I understand like why but if they said, "Hey, Mary, put together our bundles," this would have been right here. So one character slot would be added to this, so there'd be 3 things here. This would be 2 character slots and the iconic. More cosmetics, always great. We love cosmetics. The level 34 hireling, I understand why they would gate that behind the $130 version. This is like a premium hireling. They're gold seal. You can use them all the time. It basically means that at level 34, you wouldn't need to purchase a cleric because this druid can just heal you. I don't know whether they can do all the things a cleric could do, but likely they can. Most druids have all the different, like they can do regenerate. They can hit you with like a heal. So should be. Red Wizard cosmetic and the Red Wizard flying carpet. That is great. That $130, that's probably going to get a lot of people through the door for that, just to get the flying carpet mount. And then the Red Wizards, if they are very popular. Nethery's imp pet. Yeah, it's great that they're giving us a pet. I did a double take the first time I saw this, +3 racial tome for every character. They've been doing something like this for the Ultimate Fan Bundle, giving what can only be termed as FOMO. Like if you don't get this, your character if you are on the TR train, your character will miss out on a big power bump. And it's like this for every expansion that they do, basically. Like Sharn gave us the universal. I think it was the Feywild that gave us a Destiny. I think it was the Salt Marsh that gave us another. Like basically every Ultimate Collector Edition has had a tome that you can't really get anywhere else, at least initially. So I think just from a player perspective, +3 racial tome is huge. That is so much power in one tome. If you were like new to the game, that is an amazing amount of power that you can get for your character right away, because the racial points allow you to access racial abilities, and some of them, even the low hanging ones, the cheap ones, are really good. So things that would vastly improve your ability to build a viable character. Also, you get a dimensional hireling folder, and those are bound to account, one per account. Those are really good. I don't know if it's bound to the character that you claim it on, or if it's account bound and you can trade it around. I'm hoping it's account bound and you can trade it around. But it's just, you always want to log in. If you purchase one of these bundles, log into your main character and claim everything on it. And that's exactly what we're going to do. I got this version, so we're going to take a look and see the stuff live after we're done reading the list. They also give us 20 slots. This is character slots, one per account. So the first character you log in and claim this stuff on is going to get these. Shared bank slots, 10. That's great. I like I said a lot in the past, that I think VIP sub should give you unlimited shared accounts slots, but increasing your total number would make it so that if you unsubbed, then you had that amount of space. So that's good. 10 slots. And then the trinket, these quick travel trinkets are very useful, very handy to have. So I actually would probably, so the way that they've priced these in the past, these teleport trinkets have only been available in the collector editions. They really want you to buy this. So they put all the FOMO stuff, and you know, for a refresh on FOMO is fear of missing out, right? Like a good example of FOMO is the spider cult mask. So if you were around to get it, you got it. If you weren't there now, you feel FOMO because you missed out. So I do think that video game companies embracing FOMO is just the way it is. I don't see anything wrong with it. They need to encourage people to purchase the game, support the game. So while I don't think probably cosmetics are worth it, I definitely think having the hireling, level 34 hireling, is worth it. And I definitely think that something like the teleport trinket and the +3 racial tome definitely make it worth it. Is it worth it to spend an extra $50 or whatever it is? I mean, that's going to be up to the player. That is a quadruple A game price. But I mean, you know, a lot of people who play the game love the game, support the game. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of fan bundles sold. I think it's a good deal. Especially if you look at the power that you're going to get just from that, the convenience that you'll get from that. This is always good. The dimensional hireling folders, no big whoop, but hey, we'll take it. That's great. And then having the level 34 hireling to go along with the other level 32, like Darling, they gave us Teal the dinosaur, Froggo, like all those characters, you can pull them all out because they're gold seals at the same time. And at end game, you can have a full party of 6 if you have them all. So I think it's great. So what we're going to do is take a look at the game, and I'm just going to go AFK a minute before we do. So I'll be right back. Okay, back. All right, so we're going to take a look at the stuff, and then I'm going to reincarnate. So I have my heart of blood ready to go. We're going to get our human past life. But they said somewhere in here there is a vendor. Was they upstairs? So we got the whatever it is there, the Ultimate Edition, and this is my first character, my main character. I'm logged in. You can see they already added the that's the little imp right there. I mean, he's cool. He's got a little creepy face. But there should be vendors. I'm sorry, I'm just completely blanking out on where they put these vendors. I don't really enjoy the way that this thing is set up. The way that they have everything. I thought that there were three. Weren't there a bunch of vendors right here? And then they moved them, right? Like, they used to be right there. All right, that's all the VIP year, the Year of the Dragon stuff. The VIP stuff is down the hall there. That's the coffers. All right, so I'm assuming they moved all of the collector editions down here with near the VIP stuff. I'm doing this so you don't have to. Yeah, they moved all of it. Okay, here we go. We found it. So for those of you who don't know, this is the VIP. So if you're a VIP, you talk to Violet. And then these are all the different. So we've already got the Salt Marsh, the Isle of Dread. the Vecna Unleashed. And now here's the Myth Drannor bundle. All right, like I said, we purchased the Ultimate Fan bundle. So here's my inventory. I've got my Heart of Blood ready to go. They already added the imp to my stable, but we're going to claim everything here. Okay, claim one of everything. There we go. So they added all the space to my... So likely what I should do now, just to be safe, just because this is what I usually do. Just going to talk to him again, but I'm going to log in and log out. So I'll be right back. Just going to log my character. Just to make sure that it updated everything on the account. And then once we log back in, we'll take a look at the stuff, and then I'm going to TR, and we're going to actually TR into a Chaos Mancer, Sorcerer, or whatever. I'm restarting my client, so I had to switch to grab that Heart of Blood, and you guys might know this or might not know this, but the more characters that you log in, it's for some reason it makes like the game running larger and larger to where it just starts to be like a real behemoth. So when you go to shut the game down, it might take like 5 minutes to shut it down. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's a memory leak. No other game does it though. This one here, if you switch to like, you try it out if you think I'm hallucinating or whatever, log into like 10 characters and then try to shut your game off. It's going to take you like 10 minutes to shut the game off, because I think what it does is it makes scratch files for each character's bank, because it was described in like one of their live streams. I think Severlin said that your bank is carried around with you wherever you go, which really makes no sense. But I guess, you know, this game is 18 years old, so maybe that's just the way they designed it 18 years ago. All right, so we're back. So I'm going to turn off some of the cosmetic stuff, and we're going to take a look at some of the stuff that they gave us. So I got a couple of different copies of things because I talked to that person twice, right? So we're going to use our +3 racial tome. So we're using that. So I have 13 points, right? This should only, I already had a +2, so it should have only just added 1. It did. It added 1 point, so now I get an extra racial point. I won a +2. I think it was in like a gold roll, I want to say. Something like that. Yeah, just for the sake of quickness, I'll take that balance one. Okay, so now we spent our racial point. So I don't need to use this one because I've already used it. I got one dimensional hireling contracts folder, max size 15, unique count 50, bound to my account. So basically I can put all of my hirelings in, and I can have 15 of them in each. So if I do gather, these hirelings are all going to go in here. So that's great. You can do that with all of them. I got the 14 Eladrin and then the level 34 Eladrin. That's really good. And then I can basically move this to my shared account and I want to use it on another character and do that. It should have added the mount. So yeah, this is the flying carpet right here. There's that. So, I mean, it's super cool. It's great. And it gives you quite a bit. But like I said, I mean, and we can actually go and try. I wonder what the dance is on this. So I'm doing the human dance on my carpet. That's the human one dance. And then, what's my dance two? Dance. Oh God, that is really weird. I think that this is a bug, but initially kind of funny, right? Likely they have to make it so that you're actually just doing that little foot twist on the carpet and you're not holding the carpet like it's a frisbee. But it's still pretty cool to watch. I think that is the only, let's see. I just want to verify. We'll look back. Okay, we should have an Elven Marksman Steed. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Elven Marksman Steed. I have no idea. Oh, that's it right there. Cormanther Marksman Steed. That's it. Am I bugged? I believe I'm bugged. Okay, so I need to get out. All right, there we go. Yeah, I got bugged. All right, so this is the Elven Marksman Steed. That looks pretty cool, man. Yeah, I really like that. I like the armor. And I like how it's sort of a modified. I usually don't like it when they have like the cloth that goes down over the legs. So this is just basically like a cape that's draped. So you can, you can still see the horse's body in the saddle there. I know these things have specific words. I just don't know what they are off the top of my head. But yeah, this is pretty cool. It's a cool horse. I like the color. I want to get to like a better light source though. So we're going to leave the Hall of Heroes just to take a look at this steed out in the light of the marketplace. I think it's like a purple, which is really cool. All right, so this is like the best light source I think we can get. Yeah, it's kind of like a wood grain. Like it looks sort of purple in dark light, but no, it's more like a leather, like a brownish leather. But it's really cool. They did a good job. I like the little, like how it's got minimal pouches there. It's pretty cool. Yeah, so they definitely will need to fix the carpet. Let's see if it's bugged. So there's the carpet there. See if I can. Yeah, it's misbehaving in the sense that it is like acting like a an item in your hand. And if you dance on it, it completely borks it out, right? So here's dance 2. Yeah, it completely, like, that time we lost it completely. But now it made it so that I can't really, like, summon them out. Okay, there we go. So I was able to summon that. Let's see what this one is, dance. No, this is just the normal horse dance. And then here's the dance 2. Okay, dance 2 on the horse is not coded right either, because I'm sort of dancing in the horse. So it looks like both of these mounts, their first dance works, but the second dance, that's really cool that they make the character jump on the thing. The second dance on this is completely borked. Yeah, and it even like makes it so that, let's see if I can. All right, so that's working. Yeah, I mean, I had an issue before trying to summon something else to ride. But that's really cool. Okay, so we'll stay on the carpet in this light. And we'll take a look at the outfits. Right? Like, let's take a look at the outfit. So... So the Red Wizard of Thay has a head tattoo, cosmetic headwear, enchanted skull cap that grants the illusion of having intricate tattoos. Oh, wow. That's really cool. Oh, man, they need to give us a lot more stuff like this. Like, that is super cool. I mean, they need to give us cosmetics like this for a Warforged to allow us to, like, alter the way our body, you know, like the type of Warforged that we are. Because in the lore, there's like 5 or 6 different kinds of Warforged bodies. There's like a stealth-enabled one, there's a warrior one, there's like a healer one, there's the Titan, obviously, we've seen those, but I don't think they should let us turn into a Titan, obviously, but to have the other ones, they all have different names too. I just don't know them off the top of my head, but that's really cool. If you like to make a, you know, a character, I really hope that they add like tattoo packs. You know what I mean? Like add packs that would allow us, what I think what they would need to do then is just add a couple more of these cosmetic slots. So, like, one cosmetic would cover your clothes, another cosmetic would cover your tattoos, another cosmetic would cover your cloak, and then, like, they could do, like, your hair. I mean, they could get, if they wanted to, they could. Obviously, you know, it's a big if they decide to do something like that, but the fact that they implemented a cosmetic like this is really cool. So that is the Red Wizard of Thay, and then the outfit that goes with that is this Red Wizard's robes, which adds... Wow, the robe has a very elaborate neck piece on it. So that makes sort of like a cool look. There's no way to get out of that neck piece, right? So if you're using a character that has hair, it's gonna clip. You know, it's going to clip into that. But this Red Wizard head tattoo makes you bald, so the bald doesn't clip. And then the cloak. The cloak is really sharp. Not what I was expecting at all. That actually is a really cool cloak that probably would go up with a lot of outfits, just because it's got a real sort of like a classic sort of a hero cloak look, right? Like that looks like something Aragorn would wear, right? So I think that's really cool. I could see that cloak working for a lot of other outfits that have nothing to do with the Red Wizard of Thay's outfit. It's pretty good. I mean, am I super wowed by this? I tend to like stuff that's elven themed, being a person who really likes drow, so you know, while the red wizards are something that like I've encountered in my time in the Forgotten Realms, it's not like I've ever fantasized about role playing one. I tend to go more for the elves. So let's take a look and see, because this is this Cormanthier marksman outfit that they give us is an elf, basically like an elven archer, the guardians of the woods that have come back to try to retake the ruins of Drannor. So this would be an elf. So let's get rid of these for now. And then, so the first, we'll look at the helmet. I mean, so that's very cool, classic. My one thing that, and this is just true of any helmet or headpiece in DDO, I'm always upset that they hide your hair. I think that the hair should come out through. I don't think it should like automatically put the hair up in a bun, right, or whatever it is, and hide it. I understand that has to do with the game being 18 years old, but it would be really nice, because my character has long hair, even though this is a human. Normally I'm on an elf with long elven hair. If I put on a helmet, I want to be able to see it. It's one of the reasons I don't use a lot of helmets, actually. I use usually my spider cult mask, just because it doesn't, the reason I originally started doing that wasn't so much for the buff that it gave, was just because that I could equip a helmet slot that still allowed my character to have whatever hair I selected. And keep in mind too, from my perspective, like there are some expensive dyes for hair that you can get, or very rare dyes that you can win in gold rolls. So like, to hide that, it's not something I like. And I don't think that if you alter the way that your head slot shows, that it fixes that. It doesn't ever give you an option to show your hair in the helmet. So it's just, that's unfortunate, but it is a pretty slick looking helm, and it matches the horse, which is this. So I mean, that is very elven. Yeah, it's all good. We're gonna take a look at the armor now. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I like that. It's interesting because I actually really like what they did with the different sections of this cosmetic. I like the fact that it's got this sort of like, I guess, I'm not sure what they would actually call this. Maybe somebody in chat knows what this is called. Is it a hauberk or a tunic or something? That middle piece that goes over the other armor. It looks basically like a robe though, right? Like, and then the robe has different pieces of armor on it. But I like that they actually gave the pieces like form, and it's form fitting. So on a female, this is a female human, but if I were on an elf, I would actually look like something out of what I think a fantasy elf would kind of look like, or like a Tolkien elf or something like that. Like, it actually looks really good, right? I mean, World of Warcraft knows this. Like, the elves are the prettiest. The elves are the most attractive to look at. They have like the coolest. It's very sort of Art Deco with all the curves, and I think this is going to look really good on the horse too, right? I don't know what that is. Really good. Yeah, I mean, it matches. It's good. The green is a nice green. It's like a wood green, and the wood, the leather, the brown leather, the wood. It's very cool. I think they did a great job with this. I actually like this way more than I like the Red Wizard outfit, except for the tattoo. Let's take a look at the quiver. So I mean, that's a really cool cape, right? Like, you can wear a cape, which I'm not a huge fan of the capes in general. I do use them, but because they clip, clipping is when it's going through, you can see it's clipping, right? Like, it bothers me when it clips. So usually I try to avoid the clipping by using, I think I use my season 1 hardcore, which it's basically like a scarf. So like the middle is invisible, so it doesn't clip. But I love that. So I'm very excited in the sense that we've got okay, we've got four actually really unique things that they're giving us in this update. One is this quiver. That's fantastic. I hope they give us more cloak slot items that do weird things like this, that aren't just cloaks. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful quiver. Especially if you were playing an archer, I can't see you not using that. That's great. That looks like it belongs on the back of Legolas, right? The outfit itself for the elf is phenomenal. Like, it is perfect for an elf. Like, this looks great. It's really cool. And then if we look at the go to the Red Wizard stuff, the most impressive thing from my perspective, aside from the cool flying carpet, is the tattoo. Like, it makes me really hope that they add stuff to allow us to modify our base character like that. Maybe they do it by adding cosmetic slots so that we can have tattoos and hats. We could have, you know, like we could put tattoos that would cover our hands and then the outfit wouldn't have gloves. This one looks like it has gloves, but yeah, I like that they gave us that. It doesn't look like if I alter the head slot, yeah, like I was talking about clipping, so that my hair clips. So this is basically like a bald friendly outfit. So if you're bald, it's not going to clip. I'm sure if you had like short hair, it would also look pretty good. And then I think this cloak is great. Like, it's sort of a very heroic cloak. Not what I was expecting for a Red Wizard of Thay. So that's very cool. I think what I'm going to do, there's the Thay cloak and the elf armor. I think what I'm going to do is run around. Dude, that is so awesome. I absolutely love that. They did such a great job with that. Yeah, that's what we're going to wear. So we're going to TR, we're going to reincarnate. So that's basically, so I got multiple copies because I spoke to the person twice. So we don't need to keep these. This is just multiple copies. So this is all the stuff that matters. Those are our hirelings. We used the racial point. We got 3, but I already had a 2 because I wanted a gold roll to get 2. And so let's just make sure that we looked at everything. So let's go back. Okay, so we've got a Kushi hat and an imp. All right, we're going to take a look at those. All right, well, this is the imp. That's the imp right there. I think as far as imps go, that's pretty standard, right? Like, not really cute, but not really ugly. You know, kind of looks like a mephit, right? Like a little bit. Pretty cool. And then we need to find our Kushi. Okay, so it should, hopefully it's at the bottom. I have a lot of pets in here, so I'm sorry. It might take me. Or this is it right here. Elven Marksman Kushi Pup. Oh, that's cute. Oh, it's even wearing the same the same armor, so he doesn't feel left out. I don't know if I can get around it without it following me. Yeah, yeah, there it is. I mean, that's cool. Kushis are pretty cute. Again, I think they did a great job with the elf armor. Like it looks very Tolkien inspired. I like the brown, I like the green, and then this Kushi is naturally sort of like a greenish, it looks like, so he's got a little bit of storage on there. He's got something else on the other side. I want to see what the other side of him has on it. Can I? What is that? Is that a dagger? It looks like a sword, right? I can't zoom in anymore, but to me that looks like a sword. Which says to me like maybe it's a sword for my fairy. I have my little Feywild fairy right there. Maybe my fairy could ride and use that sword. I didn't think these little Kushis could actually wield a blade, so maybe it's just like maybe my super tool, right? Like maybe that's where I keep it so I don't lose it. I don't know. That's pretty cool. I like it. Yeah, I absolutely love this outfit. I think it's phenomenal. I think they definitely knocked it out of the park. If you like the whole elven fantasy thing, I think it's great. And I'm sure people are going to like the Red Wizard thing too. Like the head tattoo thing is amazing. That's such an inspired idea. I hope they do a lot more stuff like that. All right, so I am going to become a Chaos Mancer iconic right now. Because we're done. We hit level 20. All I wanted to do is get a human life. I have all the epic pass lefts already, so I don't need to do anything else there. So we are going to do a racial reincarnation. We need a heroic true heart of blood. This is going to give us a racial past life. I have one human past life. This is going to give me my second human past life, which should be +1 wisdom, I think it is. So I'm going to get, if I didn't already have the build points, I already do have this because I've TR'd 1,000 times, but we're going to redo our character. We get a brand new life. We get human 2, which gives us +1 wisdom. I don't have anything in my reincarnation cache. I emptied that out. I emptied out everything out of my backpack except for just like essential junk. All this stuff is put into like my quiver of alacrity is bound to me, so all that stuff is put in, but I don't have anything else. What we can do before we log off is throw our dimensional, this new item, we'll throw that into our shared bank. I believe I already have one of these dimensional hireling folders from another ultimate pack in the past. I forget which. I think it was Sinister Secret of the Salt Marsh. But we're going to say goodbye to Dragon Lord for a little while. Probably play it again at some point because it's super strong. But for now, I'm going to play in as one of those new iconics. So yeah, we're going to take this, put it in the shared bank. I do have another one. You can see it's right there, which I have it filled with a bunch of stuff. Usually I carry it on Mary, but this is good. This extra one, I'm saying extra, If you don't have one of these, they're very handy because you can just fill it up with a bunch of different characters that you might need in the course of your exploring, and just keep it on you and just move it around from character to character. And if you look at Mary's, this is the one that she normally has. I've got my owl bear. I've got all the other gold seals that I got, like the Onyx Panther, the Scarecrow. I carry like Mikhail the Pious. He's the fighter that can do the Dragon Mark of Passage to pop a dimension door. So if I ever need that for a quest, some quests, that comes in really handy. I always carry them. There's Larafay. She's like the S tier best character in the game to have as a hireling. Nimith is like Larafay's younger, angrier sister. There's my Teals. Albereth is like a level 30 favorite soul. Not very good, not very smart, but is that level to heal if you need a healer. Again, it nowhere near as good or smart as Larafay, but there's no level 30 version of Larafay. There's my Frogos, my Feywild Muse. Garrett is just a throwback to when I used to use a cleric or favorite soul in mid-epics. Garrett's an idiot. I mean, maybe once in a while he'll help you out. Euretha is okay, but nothing like Larafay. She's okay. This one is great though. This level 19 Kareneth, she's awesome. She's like Larafay's older sister. Really good. Inundil Tourville is really great too. And then Tanya Brightstone is probably like also an S tier. Tanya's amazing. Frenzy I carry because in the early game, if you use a barbarian and put it on attack, they'll basically clear out all the dungeons, the level 1 to 3 or 4 dungeons. Like it'll just basically kill everything. So like take a barbarian with you through Korthos and it'll obliterate everything. The level 1 barbarian is just as good as this level 3 barbarian. And then this is my darling, the rogue that I got from the last expansion, which I think she's a little bit better than Froggo, because Froggo is probably the dumbest hireling in the game, but Froggo has had moments where he's earned like a spot as like the MVP. Like Froggo has been able to, my level 3 Froggo was able to pick a lock in like a Reaper level 20 quest, which is insane. So, I mean, I highly recommend you get Froggo level 3 if you don't have one, because it's super useful throughout the entire heroic process. Anyway, so that's what I keep in that original hireling folder, and now I have another one that's going to go onto my second character that I play that I usually don't live stream or talk about. It's just a character that I tool around on. That's where that one will go. But I do have another character that just holds a bunch of stuff for everyone else, so it might actually even wind up there. And then when I reincarnate, like some of the stuff, because I've been playing this game a while and I know people do lose things when they reincarnate, I try to throw some of the things that I'm worried about losing. So I always take off all my gear and throw it into the bank. I added festival bonuses to these items, so I put them in the bank just because I don't want to lose them if anything weird would happen. If I could throw this quiver, I know I could like conjure some arrows that are bound to account, put them in here, and then put the quiver in there. But I'm just gonna hope that everything just works out. There's my green steel. That's also bound to me. And just for like the sake of reincarnating, we'll just throw all of this stuff into the bank here. Because when I log out and log back in, everything's going to be pulled into a reincarnation cache anyway. So, but that looks good. You don't have to worry about your plat. Plat is just carried over, and I don't need to spend that point. I don't think. I think everything's fine. I don't think you can reincarnate if you have to level up, but I don't think it cares if you have a point.
Where are you going? Hunting for gold that is flowing. Somewhere in the cold world, here there is no knowing. Hey la, oh la la la. We love cafes, standing stone. Let's make camp. We love games. Let's make camp and play more games. Hey la, oh la la. We love games. standing stone, let's make camp. We love games. Let's make camp and play more games. Hey la, oh la la, we love games. Where are you going? There's no knowing what magic awaits, what evil is growing. Hey la, oh la la, we love games. There's a standing stone, let's make camp. We love games. Oh la la, hunting no crips is folly. Just play games and be jolly. Magical treasures hide in the dark, so rest in it and embark. We love games. There's a standing stone, let's make camp. We love games. Let's make camp and play more games. There's a standing stone, let's make camp. We love games. Let's make camp and play more games. Hey la, oh la la, we love games. Hey la, Mary la, oh la 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 la, oh la la, la. La 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 la, la 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 la, oh la la, la 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 la, hey la, oh la la.